friends. Woo! I don't know why my voice was so high. Hi, friends! I just got excited because it's been a few days since we've gotten to read together. And I am excited to finish this book with you pretty soon. Probably not today, but probably tomorrow. Okay, so we are on chapter 13. The last thing that was happening at the end of chapter 12. Oh yeah, Ada was right, thought Rosie. I need a break. Rosie got up and walked down the sidewalk. As she walked, her anger faded like her blue footprints on the concrete. With each step, the prints were lighter, and so was her mood. She hoped Gizmo would be waiting for her at home, and that's right where Rosie found her. But she was not alone. Here it says, pressure, foot pump, air sucked in through vent, and air pushed out here. As Rosie turned the corner, a strange droning sound filled the air. Then someone yelled, 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there was music. It was the McAllisters on the bed of a big old army truck right in front of Rosie's house. The droning sound was Hetty on the bagpipes. Oh, I think I'm going to have some bagpipe music for you guys this week. Betty played the pump organ and Letty played the accordion. The raucous riveters danced in the street in front of the truck. They swirled and jumped to the jive. Rosie's family and neighbors poured out of their houses and joined in the fun. The riveters all sang, "We can rivet, weld, and hammer. We can do it just fine. Building ships and planes and trucks on the assembly line. We can do it, each and every one. And we'll do our part right from the start until the job's done." Oh, I wonder if you guys could make up a tune to that. Or put it to a song you already know and just sing different words to it. Gizmo flew to Rosie, looped the loop, and zoomed back to the organ where Aunt Rose's bird, Gadget, tweeted along with the music. "Hey, hey," said Aunt Rose when Rosie reached the crowd. "We thought you could use a dance party." She tapped her cane along with the music. "How's it going?" she asked. "I'm stuck," said Rosie. "Dance it off," said Aunt Rose. "Show us some moves." The music was catchy, and before she knew it, Rosie was tapping her foot. Then she was dancing. It was a right raucous time, and for a few minutes, Rosie forgot all about the pump. Ada and Iggy came back with a wagon full of paint cans. They parked the wagon and jumped into the dance. Each of the kids had their own dance moves. Before long, the riveters were doing the skyscraper with Iggy. Ada taught them the molecule. Rosie had everyone spinning around doing the gyroscope. Rosie had never heard a trio like the McAllister sisters. She especially loved the bagpipes. Hetty blew into a mouthpiece to fill the leather bag. Then she squeezed the bag with her arm. Each squeeze pushed air through the musical pipe. Her fingers danced over the holes and played a jumping, jazzy tune. Letty stretched the accordion to suck in air. Then she squeezed it and pressed keys to play notes. Betty stepped on the foot pedal of the organ while her hands flew up and down the keyboard. Each instrument pumped in air and held it until a note was played. Friends, are you noticing what she's observing about each instrument? There's something in common about what she's noticing about each one. Each instrument pumped in air and held it until a note was played. How did that work? Why didn't the air whoosh out of the instruments as soon as the pumping stopped? Something blocked the air from flowing backward. These questions swirled like music in Rosie's mind. She didn't notice that she'd stopped dancing. She was thinking, and she was on to an answer. Oh, you know what? That was in all capital letters, the "and," so it should be read. She was thinking, and she was on to an answer. Then suddenly, here's another all caps word, Rosie Revere knew exactly what she needed. A valve! For the next hour, the McAllisters played and sang, and Ada, Iggy, and the crowd danced to the swinging music. No one even noticed that Rosie was gone. The music drifted to Rosie's backyard, where she worked furiously. She did not notice the faint snipping and clipping noises beyond the hedge keeping time with the music. Rosie was too busy smiling at the finished Paint-A-Palooza 3 to notice anything at all. No picture. Woo! It's a cliffhanger. I'm very tempted to stop reading right now, but I'm not going to. That's how nice I am. Okay, chapter 14. It says here, how valves work. This one, something about this illustration in comparison to all the others are kind of making guesses and thinking about different ways to do things. This one says how valves work. It's kind of like, it seems like really confident or something. At 9 o'clock, it says can't move back, pressure, a little trap door, pushes paint forward. At 9 o'clock the next morning, Ada and Iggy showed up at Rosie's. They loaded the wagon and covered it with a sheet. Then they headed to the Blue River Creek Library. A dozen canvases surrounded the parking lot. Rosie found Aunt Rose, Boss, Marion, and the McAllister sisters in the corner. "Rosie!" they cheered. "Ada! Iggy!" Just then, Bernice arrived with a woman in a big floppy hat with casts on her wrists. Ooh, that was hard to pronounce, friends. Casts on her wrists. Both of those words have, here we go, STS at the end. And sometimes those words are a little, you have to kind of slow down to get all those sounds in there. "Okay," said Bernice, "we're here." She took off June's hat. "Surprise!" yelled the Riveters. June looked from face to face in shock. "What? Why?" she started. "What's going?" "It's Art-A-Go-Go time," said Boss. June was shocked. "But I have casts," she said, raising her arms. "The Riveters wanted to surprise you," said Rosie. "So, ta-da!" Ada and Iggy pulled the sheet off the wagon. June looked baffled. "It's the Paint-A-Palooza 9, said Rosie proudly. "It took a few tries, but I think we finally did it." June looked even more baffled, but she tried to hide it. "Well, thank you, dear," she said. "I always wanted one." "What is it?" she whispered to Aunt Rose. So she's saying, "Thank you, I always wanted one," but the truth is she doesn't really know what it is. And here she is in her casts. That's funny. "What is it?" she whispered to Aunt Rose. Boss shook her head. "Oh, you goofball," she said. "The kids created an invention so you can paint with your arms instead of your hands." Tears welled up in June's eyes. She said softly, then stopped. Friends, there are those 3 dots, meaning there's kind of a little pause there. A tear rolled down her cheek. "Oh, you Riveters," she said. "You are the best." "And you 3, she said to Rosie and her friends. "I don't even know what—" Her voice trailed off as she choked back tears. Boss cleared her throat loudly. "Enough of that mushy stuff," she said with a sniffle. "You know I'm allergic to crying. It makes my eyes water." June and the Riveters burst into laughter. Then suddenly, squeak! A sharp squeal blasted over the loudspeaker. "Attention," said a librarian. "Are you ready for Art-A-Go-Go?" "Go, go!" the crowd cheered. June dried her eyes with her sleeve and smiled. "Yes, I am," she said. She smiled at Rosie, Ada, and Iggy. "Thanks to you," she said. The librarian announced, "This year's theme for the Art-A-Go-Go competition is home." He blew the whistle again, and it was time to go. And there's the picture of it. It's numbered. It says Paint-A-Palooza. Look at the expressions on their faces. Chapter 15. That's it. That's the whole page. I heart cheese. Rosie set up the Paint-A-Palooza and helped June into the gloves. "Are they okay?" asked Rosie. "They're weird, but okay," said June. "I am ready to paint." June stood in front of the blank canvas. "This is the exciting part," she said. "I love brainstorming." "Me too," said Rosie. June stepped onto the foot pump. Rosie, Ada, and Iggy watched nervously. The raucous Riveters held their breath. Pump, pump, pump. Nothing happened. Pump, pump, pump. Nothing. Pump, Pump! Rosie's heart sank. Pump! Suddenly, paint snaked through the tubes. The Paint-A-Palooza worked. The riveters cheered and clapped. June gently tapped the red button with her shoe. A glob of red paint squirted onto the red brush. She made a smooth, even stroke on the canvas. June pushed the blue button and a glob of blue paint squeezed onto the blue brush. She dabbed it onto the canvas and began to paint. The Paint-A-Palooza was working beautifully, and June was smiling. Then she wasn't. That was a whole chapter. Okay. The next chapter, chapter 16, it says, the only true failure can come if you quit. Let's think about that again, friends. Let's hear it again. The only true failure can come if you quit. What do you think that means? Feel free to respond on Seesaw if you have an idea about what you think that means. The only true failure can come if you quit. Chapter 16. Ouch, she cried. What happened? Asked Rosie. My arm is sore, said June. She reached up again. Ow, she said. Maybe I should rest. She tried again a few minutes later. Oh dear, she said. My arms are too weak. Rosie's heart sank. June smiled kindly at her. Rosie, she said, I want you to finish the painting. Rosie shook her head. If anyone but June painted, she would be out of the contest. Rosie, she said softly, I want you to paint. Truly. And want? It's hard to see, but it's in italics, which is it's when they're the slanted letters, and it means there's some emphasis on it, a little bit like when you have all caps, but she's saying like, I want you to paint. Truly. Rosie looked at June's face and knew that she meant it. I'm sorry it was too heavy, said Rosie. The Paint-A-Palooza was perfect, said June. I will use it to paint my kitchen when my arms are stronger. She laughed out loud and Rosie smiled. Rosie tightened her headscarf. She picked up the left glove and boom! An idea hit Rosie's brain like thunder. And what an idea! She took off the paint glove and handed it to Aunt Rose. Don't let anyone touch that canvas, said Rosie. I'll be back. And with that, Rosie ran down the street and was gone. Oh boy, friends. I am really wondering what's going to happen next. And I'm going to stop reading right here. Chapter 17. The first word is Rosie.